I've been selling clothes online for a long time now, and these are gonna be some of my best tips for when it comes to processing clothing that I just got from the thrift store. First tip, use Ikea bags or something similar. These things are amazing. There's a reason why all resellers use them. Fit a lot of stuff. They're super tough. They're not gonna break on you, and they're super handy. I use them just in my car whenever I'm going thrifting. I have the bag in the trunk and I just throw everything in there as I'm going, rather than like throwing stuff all over my car and having it be messy and maybe spill out and get dirty, whatnot. This just stays in my trunk. I throw everything in there and I know it's all good to go. Tip number 2, I don't break down pricing of each individual item anymore. When I first started as a reseller, every single item was tracked. Like I knew I paid $3.99 for this was $2.99, this was $1.99. That doesn't matter. At the end of the year, those numbers mean literally nothing unless you are so like neurotic and you really need to know those fine details for some reason. But for the most part, as long as you're tracking your expenses, what you've sold, what the profit was, all that good stuff, you're totally fine. You don't need to track items on a one-by-one basis. Before, what I was recommending to people is just like take everything in the bag, average it out. You know, say you spent $100, there's 10 things, you paid $10 per item rather than like $3.99 for this and $24.99 for this. Everything is $10 flat across the board. That's the way I would suggest you do it. But as a new reseller, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Maybe you should track each individual item so you see your progress. But after a while, once it starts becoming like normal, everyday kind of stuff, and you understand reselling and you understand what to buy and what to sell, stop tracking it like that. It doesn't make a difference. At this point, I'm just tracking my expenses monthly. I'm just recording what I spent at thrift shops, and that's it. I'll just add it up at the end of the year. I'm good to go. I don't care. I'm not an accountant. I'm not like this person that needs to know those fine-grained details of my business. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to see the profit and the end of the year numbers. Okay, now my next biggest tip, and this is something that helps me so much when it comes to actually sitting down and doing eBay listings, and it starts right now. I've mentioned this in a video before, but I want to re-mention it again because I think it is so important and it will speed up the process so much. This is a top, so we put it there. These are pants, so we put them separately. This is another top, so we're gonna put it with the tops. What we're doing here is we're stacking like items next to like items. What this does is when you go to measure clothing, it makes it a lot faster because you're doing kind of the same thing over and over and over, and then you're switching. Rather than like measuring a t-shirt and then switching to pants and then going back to a t-shirt and then pants, you're kind of all over the place. With my method where it's all just tops, all bottoms, it's just smoother for me. It works a lot better. If you haven't seen my listing template video, I do suggest you watch that after this video. It will kind of clarify this a little bit more. But pretty much I have a listing template, and in the description I have it pre-filled with pit to pit and then bottom of collar to hem for tops, and then for bottoms I have waist flat and an inseam. When I go into that listing template and I'm going back and forth between like pants and tops, it makes it take so much longer. But when I'm just doing top after top after top, and that pit to pit and the bottom of collar just stays there and I'm just plugging in numbers, it makes it so much faster. Now again, we're shaving seconds off here. We're not like saving a minute or two per item, but those seconds do add up when you're listing thousands of items every single year. So that is a big tip I do highly suggest you think about. Look at your process. Are you kind of mixing and matching things all over the place? Try streamlining it. Try stacking things into like similar piles. All right, say we have everything stacked into piles. We're happy with that. Now it comes to the actual like checking in your inventory process. Everyone has a different method. Some people will literally like take these pants, go on eBay, list them like right here in front of them, take the picture, only get that item listed, and then move on to the next item. It's the stupidest way to possibly do it. I'm sorry if that offends you, but it's true. It's not the right way to do this. What I would highly suggest is create a spreadsheet, and if you don't want to create a spreadsheet, download the free course in the description below. There's a free spreadsheet. You can use the exact same one that I do. Create a spreadsheet and go one by one of these items, create the listing title, record whatever description you want to record, and then put the measurements on there as well. I'll go in here and be like, okay, this is a Columbia snow bib. It's a woman's XL. It's black. I'll type all that in, and I'll go through this whole entire bag. Then I'll be like Denver Broncos vintage t-shirt, blah, 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 and I'll stack it and I'll keep going, right? Once everything has a title to it, then I will go back to the pile, and that is when I start measuring stuff, just so it stays neater. The whole point of this is to make the process a lot smoother and to group like tasks. It just makes more sense to do repetitive actions consistently rather than like changing your action, because that changes your flow. So what I would do is create all these titles, put them in their piles. I would kind of clean up my area. Once the whole pile was done, I would go in here, I would grab my tape measure, and then I would start measuring items from this pile and moving them over to this side so I know that they're done. So that's kind of my input process, I would say. I do this spreadsheet, I record all the data there, and then once that's done and I'm actually like doing eBay listings, all I'm doing is literally copy and pasting stuff from this spreadsheet into eBay and using my listing templates to help expedite the process even more. So it's super streamlined once I'm actually sitting down at the computer. And then this last little tip is kind of gonna piggyback on everything. If you keep everything in order, the spreadsheet is in order, the way you measure it is in order, your photos are in order, once you go again back to the computer, it's super, super simple to fly through these listings. Just the act of like sorting through a photo album to find that listing because it's out of order, that's gonna take you so much more time than like flying through this thing because everything is perfectly ordered. The photos are where they should be. You're not searching for anything. You're literally copy and pasting, selecting photos, and you're creating these listings. This is how I'm able to do a listing in about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Obviously, this stuff adds a little bit of extra time. What I'm talking about is when I sit down at the computer, I'm ready to press create listing. It takes me on average about 1.5 minutes. But yeah, under 2 minutes is kind of the goal. If it's taking you longer than 2 minutes to create an eBay listing, you're doing something wrong and you need to reevaluate your process. I'm not saying my process is perfect, but I've been doing this for years and I've refined it and I've tested different processes, and this has really worked out well for me when it comes to processing clothing. Guys, if you have any specific questions or videos you want me to make about my process, please drop a comment below. Smash that like button if this video helped you at all. And until next time, cheers.